publisher of Yankee News, coming to you on this Monday, the 17th of August, the year of our Lord 2026, from what's the still world famous Parkway Diner. Okay, so Eric, our senior executive with the gray hair, is busy taking care of a few things, and we're lining up here for quite the evening. What's this? Connecticut on the Rise. Yep, so that's our theme. And it's a good title because I need to tell you quickly about my experience this weekend. I went to the annual homeschooling conference in Groton, Connecticut. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to some of you, the idea of a homeschooling conference may not sound very interesting. Well, unfortunately for me, it was extremely interesting. But it was interesting for a couple of reasons. The most important is that the future of Connecticut was at that conference. The hallways were packed. You had parents and kids all over the place. They had a room full of curriculum material, books that parents were checking out, another room where they're having talks, another one for small seminars. You had the vendors, okay? All of this shows that there is a vigorous, growing, vital homeschooling community in this state. So my news, my message to you, you piece of crap, Ned Lamont, is that horse has left the barn at a gallop. So I need to remind the audience about what he did, signing that law in May, where parents are expected to check in, so to speak, and submit to a background check with the most corrupt, venal, evil state agency, the Department of Children and Families. Yes, thank you. We couldn't show that on TV, but I think you get the idea. That's why he's my senior executive with gray hair. So there you go, right? Okay, so what is the point I want to make about this? The sense that this, okay, I'm going to make my radical policy proposal. First time ever, right here on the air. I did mention somebody the other day, but nobody else has brought it up, so I get to bring it up. Let me paint the picture. At this point, roughly 450,000 students are in the public education system in the state. Private, I don't know, but there's that. Sidebar, truancy, okay? Kids who are either gone 4 days in a row or more from school, or 10 days a month or more from school, are truants. And the number of truants in the state of Connecticut will range at any given time between 60 and 90,000 students. Okay, let that sink in. 80,000 students out of a population of roughly 450,000. So you're looking at, what should I say, 13%, 15%, maybe 18%, somewhere in that range, who are not in school at any given time. This is outrageous, okay? And as was explained to me, the state's excuse, we're working on it. Yeah, well, I don't think we have to look much further at how good a job you're doing at working on it. It's pathetic. Okay, so my proposal. Since we are now approaching, I don't know if we're there yet, but we're approaching possibly something on the order of 100,000 homeschooled students in the state. It's a hard number to nail down because you have a lot of people just go off by themselves, and we don't have a centralized data collection. I'm actually okay with that. Okay. 450,000 in school, 13 to 18% who aren't there, 100,000 who are being homeschooled. Okay, it will not take much for that number to come down and the other number to go up. The very thought that you could have half of the kids in this school being homeschooled is a mind-blowing fact. Should you be surprised at those evil witches that have that coven? It's called the CEA, Connecticut Education Association, would be so upset that they're going to twist the arm of our governor and the people in the legislature to come up with this crappy system, which is unlike anything else in the country. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Yes, all that is fair is foul, and all that is fair is foul. Yes, those witches.
Susan Bysowitz.
Oh, great. Wait, hold on. We need one more. Who we got? So Bysowitz, DeLauro, and
Ronan.
Well, you need a woman. Okay. Oh, He can be brought and dressed in drag, a transgender witch. Why didn't I think of that before? Okay, it's perfect. Okay, anyway, I'm still having trouble getting my policy proposal, ladies and gentlemen. Here's my policy proposal. It will be to the great benefit of all children in this state for the role of the public school districts in the state to be converted to service and support centers for homeschooling. Okay? Their primary mission is to help homeschoolers. That would be the new policy. Oh, I can hear the death throes of the Education Association as I say it. It's a wonderful thought. And I'd write, anyway, let me just add the other part here. Time and again, over and over, all right, let me state the basic statistic. The basic statistic, on average, your given homeschooled child is 2 years ahead of their peers. 2 years, okay? Now, on average means that half are not as far ahead, but the other half, even further ahead. There's something to think about. So the nature of being further ahead means that they are better educated. Ooh, what a concept, better educated. Yeah, you're gonna have to deal with that, aren't you? Ned Lamont and all your blood-sucking assholes. Okay, all right, so for this reason alone, I feel confident in our title, Connecticut on the Rise. We've got a lot of other problems to solve. You have this horrible governor who's up for re-election. We have Fazio, who, Eric, we're going to have to put away our personal comments and feelings. It is time to support Fazio all the way, baby, to get rid of what's sitting there now. Just got to say that. All right, now, time to shift. My op-ed today is
Jonathan DeBarros and...
Oh, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, so Jonathan DeBarros, thank God, Jonathan DeBarros refuses to concede on this obviously fraudulent primary that was held. So one little tidbit, let's call it alleged for lack of a better term, but the story goes that in Southbury, earlier in the day of the primary in Southbury, Jonathan DeBarros had around 600 votes. Later in the day, suddenly it went to 100 votes. Okay, I don't want to hear excuses from the Secretary of State about machine malfunctions, machines that you shouldn't be using anyway, just saying. But if that is the case, that's the kind of stuff that raises questions that require, oh my God, an investigation. Well, we'll see what happens. All right, what did I leave out? What was the other thing?
Ben Proto.
Oh, Ben. Okay, dear God, got to put in an appeal to Jesus here. Dear God, Jesus, we need help. What is the lesson that is being taught to people in this state, the Republican Party in this state, that they have had to suffer for so long with a person so horrible as Ben Proto, and that he must go? Dear Lord, he must go. Hey.
He's being groomed to replace him.
Then the rumor, I don't know if it's true, again, allegedly, there's a gentleman named Brock Weber who might be replacing Ben Proto. When, I don't know, because Ben Proto's only had the current spot now for a year. I mean, he was reelected, but it was a little over a year ago that he got reelected. So when would he go? Anyway, Brock Weber, just to remind you, was the campaign manager for the since shamed Aaron Stewart, who got caught with her hand in the till, so to speak, doing all kinds of things with the town credit card that she shouldn't be doing. Some people have tried to downplay it. We will see, okay? We will see. But that's where Brock Weber hails from. So, again, I mean, my appeal, as anybody else who cares about this, is that we have to have a sincere grassroots movement, one that is focused on the principles of the party and nothing else. As was wisely noted in a book titled The Death of the Connecticut Republican Party by Mr. Tom Becker, when people lose their sense of principle in a party, then everything collapses into self-interest, which is exactly what we have right now. So the people who need to come forth and restore the Republican Party in this state need to be men and women of principle. I know some that are out there, but we need many, many more. So any of you who are just sickened by what you see happening, this a call. This is a call for you to come out of the woods, come into the clearing, come together, all right? We've got to work together on this. All right, now I'd like to move on to my op-ed after all that. Talk about preliminaries. Aha!
T.W. Rollins.
T.W. Rollins is reporting in here. He has a few bits of wisdom to be sharing with us concerning the true nature of the world in which we, because the reason we have conspiracy theories is because people lie to us all the time, right?
That's right.
There you go. That's God's honest truth.
It's all a lie.
That's right. Well, not all of it. And the problem is which is and which isn't. But anyway, okay, my op-ed, How to Be a Democrat. So I'll be posting it, remember, but I'm just going to give you the highlights. So, how to be a Democrat. Believe anything you're told, cry a lot, be uninformed and naive, be programmable, hate anyone who disagrees with you, and deflect and change the subject. Key already are, whether you know it or not. And you need to stop doing it. I'm just saying. Okay, so we'll knock that out. Now we move on to the good stuff here. All right. All right. I have to say a couple things. All right. All right. The big subject tonight, I mean, the one that I think is really important. We need to pay attention to this. All right. I love the way I'm jumping around. We're going to get to the big thing, but there's another thing at least as big. Because the things that I concentrate on are what you're not you, but other people should be paying more attention to. I have bitched and moaned about artificial intelligence for quite some time now, basically saying that it's not ready for prime time. And my position has not changed one whit. I have cited to you time and again all the examples of why AI is not ready for prime time. Okay? That's just for openers. And then you have the part where these programs can talk to themselves, and they know when the human is quote, listening to them. This is crazy. All right. So in other words, we've created something that we do not understand. All right. Let me just, all right, footnote, all right, or asterisk. I'm taking a little side trip here. Why is this happening? Things that we couldn't contradict. Why is this happening? So I have to talk to you about a concept that guides how this happens. Have I talked to you about, what was the term again? Emergent. You kind of vaguely remember my talking about emergent phenomena. Okay, there's another term, synergy? No? Yes, sort of? Okay. So the idea is that when you put two things together and you create something that neither one alone could do, that's considered synergetic, right? Or an emergent property. The easiest examples, I like to use chemical examples, are when you take hydrogen and oxygen and combine them, you can get water. But wait a second, gas and a gas, I combine two gases and I get a liquid? Could I have predicted that? Well, no. Or salt, sodium, chlorine, a vicious reactive gas and a salt crystal, I'm sorry, a metal, and you put them together and you get, no, you couldn't have predicted that.
What is an anti-salt solvent?
An anti-salt solvent? I would need more information, but my first guess would be that, I want to figure out how to say this. You can interpret anti to either mean that it neutralizes that which is a salt, which is going to be that could be a strong reaction, technically. But the other thought of an anti-salt solvent is a thing that can sequester salt. Okay? So those are two thoughts. I mean, there'll be others. I need more information. But okay, so the problem is that with artificial intelligence, we are discovering these things that we did not anticipate. These are, ladies and gentlemen, emergent phenomena. We could not predict them, and we're finding out we can't really control them. So here, a shift which has taken place in the AI community. This is a very important shift. Let me explain. On this side of the ledger, you've had the people who've been pretty much in control and dominant. They're the ones who are saying, we got to put the pedal to the metal. We got to develop AI at all costs. We got to move as fast as we can. We cannot let the Chinese catch up with us. On the other side of the ledger, you've had people say, wait a second, you could be getting into trouble like you don't realize here. And let me just give you as an image, if anybody remembers Walt Disney's The Sorcerer's Apprentice, with Mickey Mouse as the little sorcerer's apprentice and the trouble he got into in the sorcerer's workshop, that's what is happening now with AI. Okay, that's your metaphor.